Fernando, hello. Welcome to our show, to our video channel, Liveabroad. And we are interviewing experts of different domains. And one of the most important things that everybody must know who want to live in Portugal is how to get utilities. What is the best way to get the utilities? So could you briefly introduce yourself
Good
and explain
afternoon.
your expertise in the field of utilities?
Good afternoon. My name is Fernando Mendes. It's a pleasure being here with Live Abroad. Just say a very quick few words to Live Abroad, giving them congratulations on this type of a work. I've always worked with expats for many years. I think a lot is said on social media. So it's important we praise this type of work that's done by Live Abroad and other people and other organizations. It's very important so we can see faces behind professionals who are working here, see this type of work, which is important. A lot of homework here on behind Live Abroad, a lot of research, and obviously effort and time so we can see faces and not simply a lot of times comments in the middle of an ocean called Facebook where some things are true, sadly some things aren't. So thank you first of all to Live Abroad. They've done a fantastic job preparing these types of videos and these YouTube lives. They're very important for us to give good quality of information and try to thoroughly answer the questions as much as you can.
Thank you.
My name is Fernando Mendes. I am 38 years old. I do basically a few things. Mainly, I always work with expats. I was born here, grew up in Canada, in Toronto precisely. That's why you'll notice my English is fairly good. So I've always worked with expats on very different fields. Many years ago, I started as a real estate agent until the crisis around 2009. And then after that, we had to rethink a little bit business and going into different fields. And obviously, since then, it picked up slowly the pay during 2010 to 2018. A lot of people were coming over, expats. Portugal was very popular. So I changed to a few different fields. So professionally, what I do is I do utilities, home internet contracts, electricity contracts, gas contracts, water contracts, and then apart from that, I also do a few other things. I'm also an insurance broker and I do mortgages. But here today, we're concentrating here on the issue of utilities because there's a lot to cover, and we'll leave the other fields for another future date with Live Abroad. But for today, we're going to concentrate on speaking about utilities.
Okay, thank you. Well, the next question I have is, how do you assist people who are relocating abroad? Such as expats or digital nomads. How do you assist those people?
Essentially, I assist these people. They come from various different channels, as I say, normally or directly my website or directly to me or from YouTube channels like Live Abroad or other business partners sometimes or relocation companies where they approach me. Obviously, they ask their questions, their doubts, how does all the process works with each different utility setup, and then I help them along the way. I am an independent salesman, legally authorized to do this work, so I'm fully legal under the authorities, nothing under the table. So obviously, any data that is sent to me is thoroughly and privately stored without any databases being sold onto third parties. That is always under the Portuguese and EU law, the European law, which is very strict on that. Just give this small note because a lot of times, especially from America, we see companies that tend to sell databases. That does not happen with the data people give me. And then obviously from there, I speak with people. They send me an email or a WhatsApp message or a call, what they need help with. And I start helping on each of the different utility areas and explaining how things work, the prices, start the process, do the contracts, and then book installations or connection-setup dates for that service.
Yeah, the main differences in how utilities are arranged in Portugal compared to countries like US or UK.
For example, yes, USA, North America, USA, Canada, and UK. I will even say Israel. Probably one of the top 4 nationalities I see here, expats coming from those countries. Things work a little bit differently. Nothing to be scared of. Sometimes there's this misconception that here in Portugal we still do things a little bit slowly. No, we're thankfully not that slow in terms of doing things. We can do them fairly quickly and very up-to-date technologies and systems here available. And the main difference I see here is, for example, especially on the item of home internet in countries like, let's say, America or Canada, this has been told me by a lot of times, and my experience and other clients, that if you wanted internet setup, they would send you your router, your modem in the post. You would connect it to the wall and you install it yourself. That's a huge difference from here. Here in Portugal, a technician always comes out. He always connects the router. He does a test, make sure it's working correctly, and then it's done. So they bring the equipment, they set up everything on the agreed installation date, and then you are billed, you are charged from the date that service is installed. So that's the main difference. You have, let's say, a more on-the-site help here from a technician who ensures everything is up and running, not like you literally just abandoned and dumped a router in your post box and you're stuck trying to set up. They work with you, making sure it's properly working on the day the installation date is set up.
Okay, yeah, there's a main difference. So
it's kind of like IKEA style, where you have to assemble everything and plug it in. No, here the technicians come
like in Belgium, it's you got a box and
plug it in, and then you're stuck. If it doesn't work, call the helpline. Of course, if you have an issue here with your service not working, your fiber internet, for example, of course, you have a 24-hour helpline. But the initial setup, it's important someone does it properly, wires it so that it's properly set up, not you being left alone. So that's the main difference in terms of internet setup here from Portugal versus other countries where you have to do it yourself. Here, technician always comes and does it.
Okay. Are there multiple providers available, or is there a monopoly in certain areas?
Here in Portugal, essentially, we have three main providers. I don't like to say names because of copyright issues and all that whole discussion. But in Portugal, we have two main categories. So we have the big three, let's call it main operators, which some of them are older, some of them a little bit younger there. But the three main operators that give fiber or 4G satellite connection. There's a difference with that. Let's say, I'll speak a little bit about that afterwards. But in terms of operators, three main operators, then we have the low-cost operators. And that, I put a big caution sign with the low-cost operators. I see a lot of clients valuing price, which I fully respect. I do not criticize any client, but you have to be aware these low-cost operators are substantially cheaper. I won't say it isn't, but the equipment they use, the technology they use, the lack of assistance afterwards, and the quality you're going to see of the material and the wiring will make a huge difference. Where it's going to drive you crazy if you want a good, fast, and reliable internet connection. So I would say always concentrate. And personally, I always only work with the main three operators, because they meet my standards and my demands to make sure my clients have good internet setup. So mainly I work with the three main providers of internet in Portugal.
Okay. Now about the energy suppliers. What should people look out for when choosing an energy supplier? Let's talk about, or let's think about contract terms.
With the electricity market, the difference is that you can subscribe to any operator, and then any electricity company. There's many electricity companies on the market, but then with that you can cancel the contract for electricity at any moment. When you do the prices for electricity, they're going to give you prices basically guaranteed for normally 6 months to 1 year to guarantee the price. With fiber internet, that's locked in 2 years. But then with the electricity market, what I normally tell people is they should stay at least 6 months with the electricity company and see how it goes, because there's a lot, and literally a lot of dirty politics, as I like to say, with the electricity companies, in the sense that they can give you an offer today. I work here mainly with two companies that give close to the lowest price. I'll admit they are not the lowest price on the market, but again, they have a good after-sales assistance, helplines who can help you. Because the so-called the lower prices are with the low-cost companies, where you go with them, but the problem is that they're going to promise you discounts which are hidden. They're not properly explained. And then when you try to contact them, they're not there to give you any support. And then we're literally speaking here of the companies I work with, and probably 3 or 4 companies below that will probably give you 1 to 2 cents less per kilowatt. So let's say an average consumption of, for example, 200 kilowatts, which is already a fairly good consumption for a household of 2 to 3 people. You're speaking of a difference of €4 per month. Okay, I will admit that's 4 euros less, but the quality you lack getting out of those low cost electricity providers, I think, in my opinion, not worth going through that burden or headache. It's the way they work, the way they used to subscribe their services. A lot of times these low cost electricity companies, what do? They do a really, really clever magician trick with you. They give you a low electricity price per kilowatt, because your electricity bill has two main components: your price per kilowatt, so how much you effectively spend per month on your electricity consumption, and then they have the daily consumption price, because you pay a daily connection fee, the correct term technically. So you pay, let's suppose, how many kilowatts you spent at the end of the month, and then you also pay daily a fee for them to provide the service. But they also sell these assistant services, like having a plumber, an electrician, a handyman come home. What's the problem with that? You pay something like, could be 10 to 15 euros per month to have those services, but the problem is the network of the professionals they provide to come to fix a sink, to fix a leaking pipe, they are not available straight away. So you're paying for something the companies won't be able to provide you straight away, and those are tied in with loyalty periods, which could go 1 year or more, meaning that if all of a sudden you go to another electricity company, you're still stuck paying the old loyalty of that service to have a plumber come over, which you probably never used, or when you did try to use it, the electricity company said, sorry, but for that area, for that address, we can only get an electrician coming out in 4 to 5 days, and you don't have electricity at home, or you have a pipe leaking. So all these services, so in essential, they could be a cheaper price per kilowatt, but all these services and the hidden cost and the lack of assistance, to me, doesn't really end up being cheaper, because it can cause you a big headache. So that's why I say, even though you don't have any loyalty, stay 6 months at least with the electricity company. You can follow, let's say, summer and winter, or spring and fall, because obviously you'll probably use a lot of electricity in the winter for heating, a lot of air conditioning for the summer, and then do a precise analysis of how much the bills are and how much you're spending. Because I see some people doing a bit of a foolish decision, in my personal opinion, where every month they're changing to a different electricity company. The problem is, every time you change, you have to wait 2 months for the previous electricity company to cut their contract off, so they send the last bill, and then you don't know if you're already paying for the new company. You're still getting a bill from the old electricity company after 2 months. You're a bit confused. So I tell people, try it for at least 6 months, see how much it is, and then before you change from electricity company, what I a lot of times do when people come to compare is I grab their last bill if they're trying to compare and trying to get a new electricity company, and I show them, with this new company, you're going to pay this much per month. That's the best way to do it. Going back here to the way loyalty works with, as I was saying previously, for the fiber internet contracts, it's 2-year contracts. There are 1-year contracts, and there's a lot of confusion around this. The European Union forced the operators to make 1-year contracts available for fiber. What's the problem? Obviously, the European Union can't force the prices the companies practice. So what they do is, if you do a 1-year contract with them, they're going to literally charge you double the rate they would on a 2-year contract. And they charge you installation fees, which could go from 150 to 300 euros. So essentially, when people say, oh, but the operator themselves, they're offering a 1-year contract, you're speaking of a 2-year contract. Yes, because over the span of 1 year, you're going to pay as much as over 2 years. So it was kind of like a way the operators got around the issue of the European Union forcing them to do 1-year contracts available. So the best way is always speaking of a 2-year contract. Now, during those 2 years that you do have a fiber connection available, or an internet contract, how can you cancel the contract? You can cancel for 2 or 3 different reasons. If you change to a new address, and this is a bit of a myth, I'm stuck with a 2-year contract at that address. You can always change that service to the new address. You've rented somewhere, you've leased somewhere new, you've bought a house, your dream house. You can take that with you, and then a new 2-year contract starts without a penalty applied for canceling the old one. You can, for example, if you permanently, and I underline it, permanently relocate out of Portugal, and you have proof of that. You go back to your home country, your company changed your position, your role to a new country across Europe or somewhere else in America, wherever you go to. If you have proof you're permanently relocating, they will also cancel your contract without penalty. And now the final answer, if you just decide to cancel the contract out of the blue sky, what is the penalty? The penalty is 30% of what is left to pay on the contract. So it's not because someone just all of a sudden decides to cancel, I still have 1 year left, I just don't want this operator, and I have to pay the other 12 months. No, that's a lie. You pay, it's basically around 30% of what is left to pay on the contract. If you cancel without a reason.
Yeah, and that counts for every supplier. That is the law.
Yeah, yes.
The 30%.
Yes, that's basically
Fine.
the average calculation. Then every supplier
Okay.
is obliged by law to have the contract cancelled without penalty if they if they permanently relocate to another country. Obviously, if they go to a new address, they stay with that service, so they'll do a new contract. Or the third point, which but literally very rarely happens, is when the provider cannot supply the speed that was on the contract. Then obviously they're forced to cancel the contract without penalty. But in those cases, the operator sends technicians, they send engineers to sort it out. That's only when you're in a very rural area and you do a 4G satellite contract, which I avoid a lot because that's complicated. I mean, I go beyond it where the operators say, okay, you're here in the middle here of the countryside, there's no fiber available, we can give you a 4G satellite connection contracts here, and they say they advertise up to 40 megabytes. The truth, bottom line, is in those rural areas, the average speed is 10 to 15 megabytes. So I tell the client, would you accept 10 to 15 megabytes? No, that's too little of a speed. They don't even do the contract. And then going back here to the issue of the speeds in the fiber, what's defined by law? ANACOM, which is the governing body which overlooks all of the telecom sector, the drop in speed, the download speed, which today and day averages 1,000 megabytes download, 200 or 400 megabytes upload. The maximum drop in speed that can exist is 35%. If the drop in speed is greater than 35%, you have contacted the operator, they have sent a technician, an engineer, and they still cannot get the speed to stabilize, then they, by law, are forced to cancel the contract. Also say that a speed test correctly done is never buy Wi-Fi. The way it's done correctly is you buy a cable connected from the router to your computer, and that's the correct way to do a speed. And I've seen this happen a lot. People have, for example, let's say an older mobile phone, older cell phone, and it probably only gets 30, 40 megabytes. You connect it to a computer, and all of a sudden you get the 800 or 900 or 1,000 megabytes. That's because by Wi-Fi, there's a lot of loss in speed. So that's always the correct way to do a live speed test with the operator on the helpline.
Can you tell us what options are available for mobile plans or prepaid SIM cards for newcomers?
Here in Portugal, as he was saying it very well, we have here two different options here for cell phone lines, mobile phone SIM cards, however you want to call it. You either have contracts where you're done, contract with the operator with so many minutes included per month, text messages, and so much data, or you do what we call prepaid, a pay-as-you-go. In my opinion, a pay-as-you-go SIM card is or should only be an option if you're here on holidays. If you're here on a more permanent range, with the way the prices are today, and with a lot of competition by the low-cost companies, the main operators have significantly dropped their prices quite a lot. The prices you're paying, let's say let's give an example. A pay-as-you-go, probably let's say 10 euros per month, top it up, and you get 20, 30, 50 gigabytes of data. You have some cell phone plans available where you do 2-year contracts where you get 200 gigabytes of data plus 3,500 minutes in text. And that's on the contract, the 2-year contract, you pay it every month with your bill by direct debit. And that way, it gives you a big advantage. When you have a contract done, where you pay your bill monthly, it guarantees that your payment is done every month. You pay it manually, or it's paid out of your bank account. You never lose your phone number, and here that's the big problem with the pay-as-you-go. So it guarantees you keep your same cell phone number, mobile number, without losing it. And when you do pay-as-you-go, you have to top it up every month. And then if you forget to top that pay-as-you-go every month, after 1 or 2 days, you're going to automatically cancel that number. Now imagine you've given that number out to friends, to colleagues, to the bank, and all of a sudden you forgot to top it up. That's why doing a contract paid automatically, it guarantees the service won't be cut off. Because with, let's say, with fiber or a mobile phone, you can do a bundle, obviously, which is always a better rate doing a bundle with the mobile phones attached. But let's say if you don't pay 1 month, on the second month you get a notice, and then technically only at the beginning of the third month will they cut the service off. Whereas a pay-as-you-go mobile phone, cell phone, if you forget to pay it 2 or 3 days after the limit for topping up, you didn't realize they sent you a message, dear client, you have to top it up, you forget it, they cancel your number and you lose that number forever. It's recycled, and after a few months it'll be sold at the store to a new client.
Okay, yeah, it's very important. that last one.
But even just a small point, if you're a tourist coming over, obviously a lot of people do that, where they come on a scouting trip here, have a visit across the lovely country, see the different areas. Yes, when you're here, you can get that. And people say, where can I get it? Very easy. When you touch down on the airports, in Porto, in Lisbon, in Faro, there will be normally 1 or 2 operator shop in there. Get it straight away. Normally get unlimited data, which is something like around 15, 30 euros for 2 or 3 weeks. Put it in your phone and it works straight away. That's the best way to go. And then as soon as you're out of the airport, you have mobile data. Coverage here is good. I can guarantee that compared to what a lot of clients have told me in other countries, coverage here is much better. You're going to get on average at least 4G, if not 5G. And even on 4G, you get good speed. I've gotten already in rural area speeds like 30, 40, 80, 100 megabytes more than enough. As a statistic, I have already once done a WhatsApp call, literally in the middle of the mountains. I was on a holiday, had to stop the call to do a video call on WhatsApp. I'm like, well, this is not going to go good because I don't have a lot of coverage here. But I did the call without any buffering. And at the end, I ran a speed test, and I had 3 megabytes of speed. So a lot of times we're here, we live in an era today where we speak of hundreds of thousands of megabytes of speed, but if something as small as 5 or 8 or 10 megabytes will be enough to get you through. So do not over worry or become too nervous that, I won't have coverage. You're generally always going to have coverage enough for your car, your GPS, Spotify, streaming services to keep you enjoying yourself on the beach or in the mountains, and you won't be at risk of being somewhere without an internet signal.
Okay. Is it very easy for an expat to set up utilities? Are there some documents required? ID, rental agreements, bank accounts, such kind of things?
It's very easy to set up the account. Same documents if you were Portuguese citizen, more or less, or an expat. Basically, obviously, what would I need? Let's put it a bit more here to answer your question. What would I need to do a contract, an internet contract, a mobile phone contract? What would I need? I would need obviously the address where the service is going to be installed. Again, and this is something important, bringing up the issue of the address. It does not have to be the address that you're registering with the Portuguese officials. Oh, it's not my official address yet. It's only a rental for no, it's a friend's house. Don't worry. It's any address you give. Obviously, I need your ID, whether it's your passport, if it's your ID card, if you're within Europe, any of that will do. It doesn't have to be the Portuguese ID card. We can use the passport without any issue. I need the NIF number documents. I repeat, the document, because obviously people have the NIF number, but with a lot of fraud going on, the operators are being forced to confirm the document. Obviously, your NIF number is something like your social security number back home, so everyone knows what it is here. It's essential. And when you open that, when you get that NIF number set up at the tax office, they're going to give you a document. So when they give you that document, keep hold of it religiously. Keep it a copy of that somewhere, and then so that has your name on it right at the top of the page, gives your NIF number and identifies yourself. So your passport, your address, your passport or your ID card, your NIF number, your email address, obviously your phone number. You might not have a Portuguese number yet, but your foreign phone number, because I'm going to need to get in touch with you, even if it's only via WhatsApp, no problem. And then your proof of address. Proof of address will be your lease or your rental contract, will be your sales deed if you've bought a property, your CPCV, which is the promissory contract. You're going to buy it. Any of that is enough. Or if a friend is allowing you to be at a property free of charge, there's a specific document you do, something that proves you are legally allowed to be at that contract, at that location, at that house or at that apartment. And then finally, the IBAN. Now, on the IBAN, if it's a Portuguese IBAN, just a simple IBAN copy and paste the digits is enough. If it's a foreign IBAN from a European country, that I need proof of your bank details. And it's difficult to open a bank account here. That's something I don't do, but I know it's very difficult now with the laws. People are struggling with that. But there's always a solution. Until you can get a Portuguese bank account open, to have a bank account for direct debit for utilities, because you get a discount for having direct debit, use the good old Wise or Revolut accounts. You can open them online, fairly easy to open, and even though they're foreign IBANs, the utility companies will accept them. The only exception here, and we'll speak a little bit ahead, when we cover the water companies. Even though the water companies are probably not, it's the utility service that's, in my opinion, probably not the most dangerous, like electricity or gas being explosion, but the water companies are very, very strict, where they always want proof of your bank details. So you should always keep hold of your bank details when you're dealing with the water contract. They're going to ask always for proof of bank details. And then going back here a little bit, the way I work personally is that when a client is coming from another country, they have a foreign number, they'll have a WhatsApp number they use, they don't have a local number yet. I will normally place my work number attached to the contract for one simple reason. I can help you on the installation date so that you're not stuck with a technician calling you to install. You might not exactly understand what he's saying, so I'll help you with the translation and organize. If all of a sudden, it happens a lot, people, I just had my flight delayed, or I'm going to have to change my flight to 2 or 3 days. Instead of you having to do it yourself, just send me a message, and then I can do that. They can contact me, and I can reschedule. So I always use my work number to help organize things here and make the client's life a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's a very important added value, what you're saying now.
You can imagine with all the contracts I'm having to organize everything, of course, that's quite a lot of extra work I have, but I'd rather have it to try and organize and control things a little bit better, because normally a lot of the utility companies will 1 or 2 days before send you a confirmation message. If you don't reply to that, they won't install, because obviously you're probably moving, you're on the flights, you're going to forget. So I'd rather just do it, or clients forward things to me and I help them. I think it's very important. I've seen a lot of people in this field of utilities having clients struggling to get installations because they haven't replied to the calls. They don't answer the calls because it's coming off a Portuguese number. So just make people's lives easier, and then we can change it back to their numbers after the service is installed.
Okay. I have 2 questions.
Sure.
Do you have, let's say, a golden tip for people moving to Portugal who want to set up their utilities smoothly? Is there one golden tip that you can? Of course, they have to contact you. That is clear. But maybe you think about something else.
I would probably say 2 or 3 golden tips, let's say. I think essentially it's give yourself time. The most common mistake I see with people is that people don't always contact me with enough time. I do have some clients who probably contact me months before. I'm still here to answer, and I'll reply to you and then to tell you how things are, because normally we can only do the contract, let's say 1 month before your arrival date. But a lot of people tend to, obviously, they prioritize. I need to get, obviously, my D7 applied. I need to get somewhere to live. They organize all those bits and bobs here and there, but then all of a sudden they feel one about utilities, because a lot of times utilities could take a few days to turn on. Some are automatic. For example, internet, depending where you are, it can be within up to 1 week. We can get installation date. Electricity, normally it's what we have, what we call the intelligent, the new IT intelligent meters, which can automatically be connected without anyone having to go there. But it could be one of the older ones where someone has to be there, and that could delay 2 or 3 days for electricity. It's up to 5 days for electricity. So, and then for water and gas, another week. There could be an inspection for gas. So I think the golden rule here, one of them is, first of all, contact with some time to make sure we're up and running, because as you can imagine, quite a lot of people contacting, a few emails per day, and then all of a sudden what happens here is people are all of a sudden, I need something for tomorrow, and if I have 3 or 4 people in the same situation, it could become a little bit overwhelming. And then so if we give ourselves a bit of time. Second golden rule, trust who you're working with. In my case, I have had a lot of people, and I won't lie about it, that are very nervous giving all these personal details out. Where's this information going to? Who's it going to be shared with? That's why the very first things I was saying, all the data is protected by the data protection law. It is exclusively only sent to the utility companies. I do not send that information elsewhere. It is safely stored with the utility companies. They do not give it elsewhere. So it's a question of trust is sometimes difficult. I understand it. Again, I do not criticize anyone or become upset because they're not sending documents because they're afraid. In some cases, I have no problem at all, and I've done it a few cases, and if any clients of mine who are seeing this, they're probably going to laugh when I say this, but they know I've done it. I have no problem sending a client of mine my Portuguese ID card, giving my bank details, giving my address, my phone, my personal phone number, and giving them any other details they need, so that if I do any type of fraud, go straight to the police, go on Facebook, and I can guarantee the next day I'm in a graveyard because my business has gone bankrupt.
That's true.
So I have no problem sharing the documents, honestly. There's nothing done here behind the scene. It's all fully legal. I'm fully paid by the utility companies. Again, that's another question people ask. I survive on the commissions. People, what, don't charge? No, I survive on the commissions the utility companies give me. So that would be the second golden rule, is trust. Again, if people go on Google and see the Google reviews, I have probably 150 or so, all 5-star reviews. They see I'm the one speaking of, and speak with friends or other people who have used me. They know that I'm very professional with it. Nothing hidden here behind. And probably finally, a third golden rule I would say is that speak with the professional. Is this whole discussion we're having in the beginning when you do social media, Facebook? As I like to say, good old grandpa Facebook, and we speak probably with someone
Good
like
old grandpa Facebook,
exactly, or probably someone like Liveabroad, someone or relocation companies available. They know what they're doing. Not everything that's said on Facebook is true. It's kind of like speaking about politics. We know how that is. We won't go down that discussion, but not everything is true. And if you're speaking with someone who are giving you a few tips, how to cut the corners, how things are done in reality, don't always trust. I can say that in the case of internet, for example, if you go directly to the operator's website, you're going to see the similar prices as I have, but then they probably give you different information or slightly different. When I'm giving you the bottom line of how things go. For example, as I was saying, the satellite 4G connection, you're in a rural area. If you ask the operator directly, they're going to tell you, we're going to give you up to 40 megabytes of speed. I'll tell you straight away, that's a lie. Simple as that. It's up to. So if we take that in terms of grammar, that would be 1 megabyte. They're within contract. They said up to 40 megabytes. I'm saying straight away that is 10 to 50 megabytes is the average speed. So I think when you speak with someone, you're getting professional work. And then if you go even directly to a store, to a shop of the operator or their helpline, you're going to speak with an assistant today. You won't speak with the same person again tomorrow. You're going to have to wait so they can help you out with the installation date. Probably you WhatsApp me in the evening. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And you probably have the same person organizing it. So I think it's the way I live. It's my business. But I think it's only an advantage, as far as I can see, working with someone like me who knows what they're doing, have been there, done that, and will be there to help. Even a lot of times, installing fiber, there's an issue. An extra cable needs to be pulled outside. Speak with a technician, and then, of course, if the client calls me, speak with a technician, is there an issue, this or that? And then I tell technician, do the extra bit, pull the cable, because, for example, in rural areas when there are fiber available, what they normally do is standard procedure. They only have to pull out to, let's say, around 200 meters of cable. So that's around 500-600 feet of cable. If it's more than that, they're not obliged to do so. But if you get a technician there, he's realizing a little bit more, you probably give him a small tip at the end. He'll be happy, he'll do it, and you get fiber. So I think it's this type of work and tips and advice you're going to get off someone like me, different from when you go into the operators where they do it all politically correct. And sometimes, I've had cases where people, they can't get fiber because of a small dispute with a technician. When I can jump in, kind of like do a United Nations peace talk to you. What's happening from the technician? What's happening from the client? Let's find out a midterm and get things installed.
That's clear. That is the added value of your job.
Of course, there are people who do everything online and they'd rather do themselves alone. Okay, and I respect that. But I think when you're coming to a new country, you don't know where you're coming to. I also moved to Portugal, and I know how it's a bit difficult. You have to use to the culture, the way it happens. So probably having someone professional, an expert, someone who knows what they're doing, I think it's an added bonus. And I'm sure you have a lot to think of: packing, moving, many things to think of, and not to be losing time over a small issue or dispute with a utility company.
Fernando, this was our interview. Very important to say that all your details will be broadcasted also.
Yeah, so they can watch, and again, these videos are good. I have been myself astonished with. I've had clients who probably have seen I've done a few other webinars, and I do a lot of digital stuff for a few different companies and projects like this one here on different YouTube channels, where people save these episodes, and probably 1 year after they say, "Wait, I saw Fernando one last year," and they still dig that out. They view it, and then they refresh their memory. So I think this is what I like about the YouTube channel here, like Liveabroad is doing, something you can download, save it, follow the channel, and then at any moment scroll review it. Because today, someone is probably going to be overseas watching this, where they're starting the process, they're starting to think probably going to Portugal in 6 months, 1 year. By the time you reach it, you've forgotten everything I've said. You're going to refresh your memory, kind of like seeing the good old Christmas movie again, so you can refresh your memory as to what's happening.
Like a Die Hard movie.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Fernando, I want to thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
And your information. And we get in touch again for maybe further information.
Sure. And again, and one last thing, never be shy to ask any questions. I tell this out to viewers, whoever is seeing this. This is my sales motto. There's never stupid questions, only stupid answers. And I've come from a different country. Don't feel shy for asking a question you think is pathetic. That simple question, that simple issue, which is really making you not sleeping every night. If I can help you give the answer, it might be a big relief. So don't be shy. Ask the questions, and I will reply as soon as possible. In general, I'd like to give this last note too. I reply normally within the same day. But again, I'm not a robot yet. I'm real, again, in flesh and bone. I don't have any IT program or any intelligent artificials running my services. So I reply to every email here. So I might take a little bit to reply. If not within 1 or 2 days, come back. Sadly, some people, they give up because I haven't replied within 24 hours. No, if I don't reply, because I'm probably trying to take the weekend off, like we all need to, or have a bit more urgent cases. But I always filter things. If someone says it's urgent, need a contract installed for 1 or 2 days, of course I will prioritize that versus someone who is doing an initial inquiry for moving in 6 or 8 months. So I do that, filtering what is important, what isn't. But for sure, I will reply to every single message, every single email you send me. I will be here and always try to help you and answering any questions you may have if I know them. If I don't know the answers, I'll try to get the resources to help you in the best way I can.
Okay. Fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure. And all the best for your project. And I hope
you too.
And I hope this YouTube channel brings a lot of people over.
Yes.
It's important you come over to Portugal. A lot of people say, I'm going to a different country, a different culture. It doesn't matter. You're bringing money into our economy. You're making the local business growing. You're making our beautiful country be on those magazines, on the internet. It's always a question of pride. I was born here. I love to see my country being spoken of. All those pictures on those lovely beaches. There's a lot to discover. So come over. We all appreciate you here. A lot of people speak probably not as good of English as me, but everyone speaks a little bit of English when you walk into a store. So you will not be abandoned in the middle of a Portuguese language. Someone will help you for sure. And thank you for choosing Portugal. Okay.
Wow. What an unbelievable PR.
I'm very, very proud of being in this country. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. And I am very happy to be here also as a Belgian expat.
And we thank you for investing in our country once again.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.